Hello, everyone. Welcome, one and all, to the Dissidence podcast with your host, surprise, Keaton Weiss. I'm your host. My co-host is my good friend here, Richie Rosencrantz.
Yes, that's me, the co-host. How are you?
Richie and I are going to talk about how we got to know each other in just a few minutes, but I do want to just set up what this podcast is going to be because I haven't actually told anyone about this. Have you told anyone about this, Richie?
No, I don't want to embarrass myself.
Yeah, I was afraid. Right.
We're going to embarrass ourselves.
Right. No, but I have not told anyone that we were doing this, except, of course, literally you and my wife are the only ones who know outside the person who urged me to do it. I have a really good friend of mine whose name I'm not going to mention. I assume he doesn't want it mentioned. If he wanted it mentioned, he'd be doing it with me.
Right.
Plus, he's at Harvard Law. He has got a whole career ahead of him. If you have big career ambitions like that, you don't want to be publicly associated with this
podcast.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
So he'll give it a listen. And if he wants me to mention his name, then I suppose he will. But really smart dude, really great dude, and we would have these long conversations for as long as we've known each other about all kinds of things, not just politics, but all kinds of things. And he always thought that I should try to do something with my opinions. And I had never really thought to do anything like a podcast or a blog. First, he wanted me to do like writing and stuff, but I don't really have the attention span to write essays. I could do it once in a while when I really feel passionate about something, but generally I like to run my mouth and get into arguments with people. And I noticed that Richie kind of likes to do the same thing.
Yeah, I do.
We've known each other for a long time. We've been Facebook buddies, and we've both sort of like commenting on each other's stuff and like asking each other what we think of this and that. And we seem to be interested in the same things and interested in like what each of us think about the same things.
Right.
And I knew if I was going to do a podcast, I couldn't do it myself. I had to find someone who I thought would be a great co-host because I can't just speak into a microphone looking at a computer by myself.
Yeah, and who wants to hear that?
Right, exactly. So I needed somebody to do it with, and I've known Richie for a while, and I thought this would be a great fit, and so it's kind of exciting. Well, let's find out. Richie, why don't you introduce yourself and see how wrong I was?
Yeah, right, exactly, right? Here go like Mike Silence for like the next 5 minutes, right? So, yeah, my name is Richie Rosencrantz, born and raised in Newburgh, New York. And obviously I have a lot of views about Newburgh, past, present, and future. I'm very excited about learning more about Newburgh and more about what I can do to help that city rise out of the conditions that it is in, and more importantly, help the people there rise out of the conditions that city has been in for my whole life. And when Keaton approached me about this podcast, I thought, yeah, this is a great idea because we can talk about issues that we're interested in, and then we conceived of this idea of the format, whatever, of or a lens of having them be really local, like maybe even just my own neighborhood, how that issue affects me and the 4 or 5 closest people who live next door to me, and then on my street, and then on my block, and then in my city, and then in the Hudson Valley. And that way we can maybe make these things more relatable. Obviously, there's certain issues that we're not going to get into on through that lens.
Yeah, whatever local stuff that we do, and we want to do a ton of it. And one of the reasons why I wanted you to do this with me, Rich, is because you are more than just a loudmouth. You are a real activist who, who really does care greatly about people and about the community that you live in. And I know that you could sort of bring a lot of people to this. We're going to interview local people, or whoever wants to come on the show. We'll be sort of interviewing people. If you have something that you want to plug or some cause that you want to get out there, you're more than welcome on the show. As long as you're not like a Nazi or anything.
Well, we're not going to let those guys in the door.
I forgot. You have to now say,
oh, yeah,
no Nazis.
Oh, yeah,
You
right.
actually have to have like a no Nazi policy nowadays.
Yeah.
So if you're not a Nazi and you want to come on and promote yourself or promote your cause, you're more than welcome. There are some people who we'd like to have, co-host and step in from time to time.
Oh, sure.
There's
Great.
another friend of mine who actually wanted me to do his podcast for a while. He never started it. I don't know if it's because he got mad at me. We started having a few arguments about Russia. And so he got a little angry, but
it's a hot topic.
It's a hot topic, but if you're listening to this and you want to ever like jump on a show and sort of help us host it via Skype or whatever, you can do it. I can promise you that this is not like a Russian intelligence operation here. This is not a Russian spy op for all the paranoid schizophrenics who may be listening. This is this has nothing to do with the Kremlin or anything like that. Although they might help us spread the word. You see, you got it on your screen right now.
Yeah.
Which you posted. A Russian troll slayer went undercover at a troll factory and found that hundreds of Russians were working as paid trolls.
Yeah, isn't that nuts?
Well, that would be an awesome job. I would love that job.
To be an undercover troll slayer?
No. To be a paid troll.
Oh.
To be a Russian troll. I'm a quarter Russian. I could be a paid troll. I mean, they actually will pay you. I go on Craigslist sometimes just to look for jobs because I'm a freelancer. I have all these kinds of things, and I sometimes sort of fantasize that maybe one day I'll have like steady work. And so I go on Craigslist and I see all these shitty jobs. Could you imagine going on Craigslist and seeing paid troll, whatever.
Yeah, that'd be nuts.
$25 an hour to just sit in a room and fuck with people. There they are. What is this, Business Insider? Look at that. There's like 3 dozen people there.
Yeah,
they kind of look like me.
Right.
Glasses, stubble, kind of,
like
some have a little short hair, some have a little long hair, kind of like me. I think I would be
You could totally be in this picture.
I would be great at that. I think.
Yeah.
I would be. I think you'd be pretty good too.
I think they call it the Troll Factory. They don't make trolls there, like those dolls. Remember the troll dolls?
Yeah. The Russian dolls.
Right.
No, that would be actually a really cool field to get into. But
yeah, I mean, this is their job to sit around all day in a big. If you guys check this out, Google it or whatever. There's just a long table and guys on both sides with their
laptops,
their laptops and their water bottles, and they're just fucking with people for 8 hours a day.
And they have total anonymity. I mean, no one ever knows who they are, so they're not accountable for anything that they say.
That's right.
That's fantastic. That's really fun. Man, I would love to do something like that.
Yeah, for a good cause.
Well, I mean, but it doesn't always have to be like we don't know like what the cause is for everything. Like I got mad last night.
There we go.
I said something. Like, you can cause anybody for anything. We were watching The Voice last night. My wife and I were watching The Voice.
Oh, yeah.
And I got mad at Kelly Clarkson.
Right.
Because the way The Voice works is they have these blind auditions where there are 4 coaches and they get to compete to, if there's a singer that one or more of them like, they try to get that singer to come on their team and coach them.
Oh, right.
And so all three out of the 4 teams were full. John Legend, Blake Shelton, and Adam Levine all had their teams full. So Kelly Clarkson got her pick of who the last person on her team was going to be.
Pick anybody.
Right. So all these singers line up and they sing, and she was like rejecting all of them because she really wanted a country male vocalist on her team.
Sure.
And I thought this is really not fair to the singers because what if they're not a country male vocalist?
Right, they
came all the way to L.A. to audition, thinking they get on the show, and they have no chance. And so I got pretty angry, and I said something that my wife was pretty upset that I said, and I won't repeat it. I'm saving it for the Troll Factory. I don't want to.
Right.
But you can go on like Kelly Clarkson's page and troll her.
Oh yeah, sure.
It doesn't all have to be politics. These guys. You have to lighten it up sometimes.
Okay, yeah, good. That's a good point. Thanks. You're right. You do need to lighten it up.
I mean, she said I can't talk like that when we have the kids. So I made it. I mean,
that's right,
I'm
everybody. Keaton's an expecting father of twins.
Twin boys, Donald and Eric, this week.
Ah, okay.
But yeah, we are expecting twins.
That's great.
And in fact, by the time that you guys hear this, they may already be here. That's how close we are. We're not giving a final date yet, but stay tuned and you will know.
Yeah. Sorry, I was
But she
just...
said I can't talk like that when they come.
Well, yeah, you probably got to curb it a bit. I'm now looking back at my laptop here on that Troll Slayer story, and this is how weird this thing can get. The operation was run by a local restaurateur. So apparently there was an addition to the restaurant, some secret door or whatever, where you go through, and then there's this other building, or maybe he was renting some other building.
It said he was placed under U.S. sanctions for attempting to interfere with U.S. elections.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So anyway, we got off on a tangent there, but if you're out there, the gentleman who wanted to do a podcast with you long ago, you're welcome to join us.
The Troll Slayer.
It was a female Troll Slayer.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
See, that could be a movie.
Yeah. Because there's no women in these photos. There's a big room full of guys, and apparently a female Russian journalist decided, you know what, I'm going in. Good for her. That takes guts.
So, Rich and I met about 10 years ago at Barnes & Noble. We both worked at the Barnes & Noble music department. And I took an instant liking to Rich. I just immediately...
You were the one.
I immediately just admired how disobedient and uncooperative you were in a professional environment.
You should tell my mom that.
Yeah, no, you were so much fun. It was, I loved coming in when you were on. See, the way the music department worked at Barnes & Noble, this was back when they had CDs and DVDs, and they actually had a huge CD section there.
Yeah.
This was back when CDs were a thing. I mean, they had a great CD.
I wonder what it looks like in there now.
Well, now it's not even its own section anymore because they don't sell CDs and DVDs anymore. I mean, they have a few, but now they don't care if people like cut the labels off and like run off with them. when we worked there, it was its own section and it had its own like what are those things that beep when you go past them?
The detectors.
Yeah. They had their own thing and they had their own cash register in
Retail
there.
Metal
so
detector.
even though it was mostly a bookstore, they had to have one person stationed inside the CD department at all times.
Yep.
And sometimes, I mean, literally hours would go by and no one would be in there.
No one would show up.
And they only put, generally, one employee at a time in the music department because no one ever came in there. We were basically just there as a deterrent from, like, theft. Right? We were there because they didn't want people thinking, oh, we can go in and cut the tags off the CDs and run out. And so there were times when our shifts would overlap, and those were always really loads of fun. I remember the most fun I had with you was inventory night. Do you remember inventory night?
Vaguely.
Okay. So inventory night is when they would hire this third-party company to come in and count.
That I remember.
Every single item in the section. We would be there until like 4 a.m. because we had to do it when the customers weren't any longer there. And that store stayed open till 11 p.m. every night.
Right. So we didn't start till 11:15.
Right. And so these guys would go around counting all the CDs in a certain section and all the DVDs in a certain section.
Yeah.
And we were supposed to follow them and count and make sure that their counts were accurate.
Right.
And you were just so offended by the need to do that. You were telling the manager, you said, why do we have to follow them and count? We brought them in here to count.
Right.
They know how to count.
Sure.
It's not like they can't count.
That's right. They're professionals. They had equipment. They had these things on their hips. And they're trained, and we're paying them.
Yeah.
And it's 2 a.m. Who the hell wants to be in Barnes & Noble counting CDs at 2 a.m?
So the managers got pizza for everybody, and they had pizzas in the break room. And I remember there was the DVD drama and DVD comedy were counted, and there was some kind of a mix-up. I guess one of them screwed up a count, and so Richie counted it. Well, there was one section. Right. I mean, they had like 99% accuracy.
They do, yeah.
But the manager asked us. Yeah, no, they're fantastic.
Yeah. But the manager asked us.
The manager asked us to recount, to do it like a second and third time,
right? To
get a final number. And so, Rich, you counted. You gave me a number for DVD drama, and I counted. and I got the same number. Now, I honestly don't remember if I actually got the same number, if I just said I got the same number so that we could just skip the rest of it.
Yeah.
But we both got the same number. We say, okay, here's the number. And the supervisor said, well, I want to count it a third time. And you're like, why do you want to count it a third time? We both just, we had the guy count it. He gave a number.
Right.
We both counted it. We gave the same number. Now you're going to count it a third time to make sure that you have the number right. We just counted it twice. And she's like, I want to do it. It's okay. You guys could go on break. And you still didn't think that she should be counting it. Like, you had no stake in the matter. I don't know why you were so upset over what, I don't know what the fuck you care whether she wants to count it a third time. But you were
I thought it would delay everything. And then, okay, I know what it was.
Thing, yeah.
I know what it was. It was, well, if you wanted to count it yourself, why didn't you just count it yourself in the first place?
Then why'd you
making us do it?
That's true. I didn't think about that. So then she says she's going to count. She says, you guys can take a break. Go have some pizza. So we go into the break room to where they got the pizzas laid out. The door to the break room is like wide open to the rest of the store. It's not like it's a private little space.
No.
Door is wide open. And I said, you know, I told Rich when we got in there, I said, you know, I'm pretty sure we had it right, you know, and you got the same number and I did. Yeah. You said, yeah, no, we totally got it right. We got it right. And that fucking idiot's out there still counting the third time with the door wide open. And I almost spit my drink. It was so funny. I just loved that you were willing to just say anything, because that was the first. You're a little older than me.
Yeah.
And, you know, not much older than me. We're the same sort of age bracket, I guess. But you're a little older than me. And so this was not your first job. This was kind of my first, like, job. Not my first, like, technical on-the-books jobs. I had worked, like, summer jobs, like, in high school.
Yeah.
Like, summers in high school, like, in between college courses, you know, stuff like that. But this is the first time where, like, okay, I'm not in school anymore. This is my job for the time being.
Sure, of course.
And so I was a little bit, like, worried about losing it.
Yeah, right.
Whereas you were not.
I clearly did not care.
No. And how long? You were not there for that long.
No, clearly. I mean, if I'm going to, you know, run around calling the managers fucking idiots, I'm probably not going to be there for very long.
Now, did you quit, or were you fired, or were you...
No, I was fired. That's duh.
What happened?
But, you know, I mean, going back, I'd been in the Army right out of high school and gone to college and then, you know, come back to Newburgh. And so, you know, I had two jobs at the time. Barnes & Noble was one of them. And I did care. I didn't want to get fired. I liked all the people that I worked with. Everybody was great. And the person that I called a fucking idiot was not a fucking idiot.
No, she's not a fucking idiot.
No, she's awesome. No. But it was
But, you know, it's late. It's 2 a.m. You're tired.
Right,
you know.
right. And I call myself a fucking idiot more than I call anybody else a fucking idiot. But what was the question again?
I was asking, you got fired.
Oh, yeah, I got fired. Right, yeah. And I'm friends with the gal.
Oh, but how'd you get fired? What'd you do to get fired? Was it just not working out? Or
No. Okay, so I go into, it's my shift. I go into work. I have to go over to the music department. You know, they probably put the troublemakers in there or whatever. But I'm over there, and I'm waiting. I need a manager to come over and type in her code to open up my computer-based cash drawer.
Okay.
My point of sale machine. But she's at the regular checkout with a line of people.
Right.
So, and it's like just the two of us, basically.
Right.
I guess.
So
no one else
it
was
would have been
available.
a pain in the ass to...
Right. So I had a line of people waiting to buy CDs and DVDs, and I basically had to tell them all, you're just going to have to wait until the supervisor on duty, who was Donna. Remember Donna?
Sure, of course.
At the time.
She's not the one he called
No, Donna's not. I did not call Donna a fucking idiot. And Donna's my friend. So basically she was like, I can't get over there. And so Donna and I, you know, figured it out. Right. And we got in trouble.
But she didn't get fired.
No, she didn't get fired. I got fired.
Oh.
Yeah, that's okay.
Huh.
I don't hold it against her.
Well, all's well that ends well.
Yeah.
Rich has a great gig now. You're the, what do you do at the Gomez Millhouse?
It was probably better that I got fired.
You've been at the Gomez Millhouse for a long time. What is it?
Yeah, about
the Gomez
10 years
Millhouse,
now?
a historic, what was it? Was it a Jewish settlement?
Yeah. The tagline that we use is the oldest Jewish dwelling in North America. So part of the structure that's there, part of the house, was originally a fieldstone blockhouse built by a guy named Louis Moses Gomez. Since it's the Gomez Millhouse, I'll put that out there. In the 17 teens, and I'm not going to get into too much of that right now because then you don't want to come to my job and get a tour of the place, and you'll love it if you do. It's a really amazing place. And I've been there for about 9 years. It's a good fit.
Yeah, you've been there for forever.
Yeah, the place is wonderful. It's helped me a lot. I've helped it a lot. And it's a really amazing, special place. Obviously, the tagline speaks for itself, oldest Jewish dwelling in North America, but it's iconic well beyond just that part of its identity.
Yeah, so Rich is a historian, activist, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I've already had a lot of fun, and this is just our intro episode. And so if anybody, like I said, wants to come on the podcast, there are some, local groups that we would really love to help, get their name out there, and they can help us get our name out there. This is episode 1 of many.
Yeah.
And so, we're looking to, sort of network around. If anybody wants to come on, if you have something that you want to plug or get the word out, or just something that you really want to talk about, this is hopefully going to be, an outlet for that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like first episodes of shows and things that were iconic and stick in my mind, but I can't remember any of them, so who knows?
Well, The Sopranos, the pilot of The Sopranos, is one of the best episodes of television ever.
That's true. That's true.
It's just a masterpiece. I've been watching that. I've been watching reruns of that show now, on Amazon and stuff like that. Oh, not only does it hold up, it's still better. Like, I would rather watch The Sopranos straight through a fourth time than watch almost anything. I mean, it is just miraculous how good that show is. So it goes Sopranos pilot episode, then Us, then maybe Seinfeld. The pilot episode of Seinfeld,
I don't remember it.
Not that great. I mean,
did that show take a couple years to get good? It might have, right?
No. Seinfeld is just an absolute masterpiece. In fact, one of the things I always used to tell my friend at Harvard, who wanted me to do this podcast, is that like Seinfeld is one of the major works of art ever.
Okay.
Like up there, what did I say? Like Sistine Chapel type art. Shakespeare. I mean, it is,
I'm sure Larry David would appreciate that.
Seinfeld has given us words and phrases the way Shakespeare gave us words and phrases.
That's interesting to think
Seinfeld
about that
has just, I mean, it is
because you don't need to like the comedy or how it's done to appreciate that part of it. That's right. It's good.
Yeah, and it's just a point of view. It's just a way to view the world and like the human condition. It's very small and very petty, but it is.
But on purpose, it's done that way on purpose.
It's done that way on purpose, but like in doing that, it reaches these really like profound heights. Like one of my I'm blanking on the exact example, but one great example is when George gets to Jerry's apartment, and they're all going to this like dinner party.
Yeah.
And George says, "All right, come on, let's go." And they're like, "Well, we have to go. We can't go right to the party. We have to stop. We have to bring something to the party."
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. Right.
Like, what do you have to bring? Wine. But we can't all show up with just a bottle of wine. We have to. You guys go get wine, and we're gonna get like a cake. They end up getting a babka.
Okay. Yeah.
And George says, "Why do we have to bring anything?" And he,
of course he would.
Elaine says, "Because it's rude otherwise." And he says, "It's rude?" He says, "You mean just going somewhere because I'm invited? That's rude?" And it's like little things about this. Just like it's about being a person. The other example that I thought of was how long to wait between sneezes before you should say God bless you. Like if somebody sneezes once and you sneak a God bless you in, were you being polite? Or were you jumping on the other guy's God bless you?
Right.
Or was the other guy waiting for her to sneeze a second and third time? Because a lot of times you sneeze in threes. See, things like that, I think, are really transcendent. I don't think they're just small and petty.
They're not. That show is great for that. You're right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so we're going to talk about a lot of different topics. Entertainment, world stuff, some politics, maybe some economics, but it won't be economics in sort of like the economist.
Yeah, no, we're not smart enough
Economist
for that.
kind of.
Yeah.
No, we're not. No, and I just got a subscription to The Economist, so maybe I'll bring some of that stuff to the table. My buddy recommended that I get The Economist and the Financial Times to understand that world. He said, you don't have to agree with everything that these things put out, but you should know what these certain publications are saying because they're legitimate. They're the ones who are out there in, doing the work. You don't have, and they're not the only ones, of course. But I'm glad that my subscription came in. So yeah, politics, entertainment, a little bit of, I don't know, like layman economy type talk, social stuff. Like I was saying earlier, more about how this stuff is impacting our lives, because none of us, well, actually, I do know someone that went to the London School of Economics. He'll be on our show, hopefully.
Oh, good.
But he doesn't like to make a big deal out of that because he just doesn't. But the point is like, how do we make this stuff more relatable? How do we understand it? Because I've told people economics makes my head spin. Politics makes my head spin. But I don't want it to. I want to be able to understand it somehow. And there's people out there who are spending the time to understand it. And some of those people are in my life, and and we'll sort it out. We're going to talk about candidates, not just presidential candidates. Maybe we'll take a look at certain races. I'd like to focus more on this region. I don't what am I going to talk about somebody running for office in Ohio? It's not going to, right?
Yeah, no, not. I don't know who's running in Ohio.
Right, I don't know, me either. But we should know about what's going on in the Hudson Valley. U.S. congressman level, state senators, state assemblymen, and we definitely need to focus on what our state assemblymen and state senators are doing for us and what more they could do for us. I find it interesting when people say they don't like to talk about politics. I don't get mad at them. I get it. It's nutty and crazy, and you hear a lot of politicians and you want to never vote again almost sometimes. But, I mean, politics, for me, like if I had to just look at the word, it's about policy, and public policy is about the law, the things that we all have to live by every day, every minute we walk, well, not even when we walk out of our house. A lot of this stuff has to do with how we act inside of our own house.
Sure thing. Well, yeah, I mean, and, you kind of made the point, but any sort of localized issues are going to have broader implications. Like, we're not going to come up here and rant. Like, can you believe the fucking traffic light at 9W and 207 is still out? What the fuck is going on with that? So whatever we talk about will hopefully be of interest wherever you are.
Environmental stuff. We're definitely going to talk about the water crisis that's hit Newburgh.
Yes, that's a perfect example of a local issue that can really be applied anywhere. Why don't you say just a little bit about that before we sign off here?
Oh, sure. Well, basically, the Air Force, it seems not completely knowingly, but they might have. The companies that made this firefighting foam chemical might have lied to them. But they were using a chemical to fight the fires on the airplanes. I don't think there was ever a real fire. There might have been one, but they were testing it and training with it. And there was a leak, I believe, in 1990. So a lot of this stuff spilled into the tributaries that lead to the city of Newburgh's drinking water source, Washington Lake. And nobody knew about it, apparently, or someone knew about it and didn't really pay that much of attention to it or swept it under the rug. There's all that kind of stuff going on. But the point is that eventually we found out and we had to stop drinking the water. And then there's all the ramifications once you know. Lawsuits, medical monitoring, reimbursements, what's going to happen to us all down the road as this chemical is more known and more tested in laboratory environments. Is it going to produce effects? You can look it up. The real kind of whammo factor on all of this is that it's related to airports and Air Force bases all over the country. So apparently there's roughly 100 million people affected by this particular chemical. Wow. And that's nuts. That's a third of the population. And so it gets really, really big really fast. Yeah, absolutely. And like, for example, we hope to maybe find someone who is a real expert so we could do real deep dives on these kinds of things. Yep. And I have connections to those people, thank God. Exactly. There's people in the city of Newburgh who are really, really passionate about this, and they're out there doing the work. and we want to get them on the show and let them do their thing because they're really great at it and they're working really hard on behalf of all the people in our community.
Excellent stuff. And Rich, you're one of those people. You're out there. I mean, you're out there more than I am.
I try.
Much more than I am, for sure.
I found one of my strengths, is being in certain places and then realizing certain people need to be in the same room. Like, oh yeah, Keaton's got to get with my buddy Joe. They got to meet. And I'm hooking people up and helping them out. And then when I can go actually be of service at events, I'll do that. I'll show up. And I bring up the name Joe because my buddy Joe Alvarez runs this great program. Well, he doesn't run it. He started it. Now a lot of people run it together called We Are Newburgh. And there's no sort of bullshit involved. We meet and we have events and we show up and we get it done. And he has a whole way of doing it that doesn't require a lot of red tape and bureaucracy and a lot of blah, 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 blah. We just do it. We accomplish our goal. It's very simple. We just help our community. And at the end of the day, a lot of love gets shared through actions that literally benefit other human beings. And that's the best thing you can do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that puts a button on episode 1. I got to come up with a standard plug here. But right now we're on SoundCloud. We don't have a website. We're doing this for no money at all. I got twins on the way. I can't spend any money on this. So we're on SoundCloud and we're on Facebook. Follow us on SoundCloud. We had one person follow us on SoundCloud.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was like a prostitute or something who just follows everybody, hoping they'll follow them back.
Yeah.
Looked like a prostitute, but she unfollowed us, so we already lost our first fan. So we're at 0 right now. Hopefully by the time people listen, we're at more. But follow us on SoundCloud and follow us on Facebook.
Yeah, please do.
Much more to
Facebook
come. And keep up to date. Much more to come. Thank you guys for listening. If you made it this far, thanks for your support.
Oh yeah,
and,
right.
We'll
they probably all tuned out about 10 minutes ago.
I think people hung around.
I do
think
too.
we
I do
did
too.
Okay.
I hope they do,
All
and
right.
I want to get them on the show.
Yes, indeed. One day you could be sitting here with us if you work hard.
Lucky you.
And play by the rules. Thank you very much, everybody. Signing off. We'll see you next time.
Have a good night.